Hello, this is Jason Gerline, broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California. We've been on a hiatus for Dodgers Weekly. Couple of weeks, a lot has happened. Well, let's bring you up to speed. The Dodgers went down to the Giants, fell back about 9.5 games, but over the last 3 weeks, they've gained it. They've gone on a 12-4 stretch. They've been very good these last 3 weeks, and now they're tied with the Giants for first place. So let's get into let's just dive right in. Why are the Dodgers doing so well? Well, you have the starting pitching. Kershaw, Greinke playing some of their best baseball as of right now. Now, Ryu is also doing very well with a 9-3 record, and he says to them, well, what about me? Ryu's been playing very well, and has been coming out and being a solid third person in the rotation. As of right now, his career in Los Angeles, he's already 23-12. 11 games over 500. So Kershaw playing some great ball, throwing no hitters. He has a shutout streak going. Greinke had some trouble his last few starts. He broke out of it and pitched a great game against the Cardinals. I believe he only gave up one home run. I think that was it. So what's up with why are people saying Ryu's good? Well, in the month of June, he's 3-2 with a 3.19 ERA. Now, let's just backtrack a little bit, shall we? Let's go to his start on June 6th against Colorado. Played very well against Colorado, and he pitched very well against them. He only gave up about 2 runs. But that's very good, especially because they were playing in Colorado. I would always expect Ryu to have trouble with the Rockies, even though he's been able to hold his own against teams in the NL West. So that game against Colorado, he won that game 7-2. Then he played Cincinnati. Now he lost that game to Cincinnati 5-0. That was a very tough outing. He didn't really get any support from his offense. Johnny Cueto held the Dodgers to 5 hits, and they really didn't find their place during that game. And well, long story short, Ryu came out, giving up about 4 runs and 6 hits, and that was just the story right there of the game. They didn't really have that many opportunities to score, so that was about it. But he rebounded. He took on Colorado again at home, going 6, only giving up 1, and then played a great game against San Diego, where he only gave up 1 run, which is pretty good. But then he played St. Louis, and some defensive miscommunication, a home run. It was a home run by Yadier Molina, sent him to another loss. But as it stands, he's 9-4, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Ryu's a solid third guy in the rotation, and he's one of the finer pitchers in the National League. And when I say that, I mean third person in the rotation. Obviously not an ace, but you know what I'm saying. So we move on to look at Josh Beckett. Josh Beckett, of course, threw that no-hitter back in, was it May, I believe? May? It might have been June. I think it was May. I'm sorry. I might be confused. But Beckett threw a no-hitter against the Phillies. He only gave up, I believe, 6 walks. Now let me talk about Beckett real quick. Beckett, for the Dodgers, wasn't expected to be a solid 5th or 4th pitcher in the rotation. He wasn't even supposed to be where he is right now. He's a great pitcher. Used to be a great pitcher. Right now for the Dodgers, he's 5-4. Now, he's had some really good starts. In this year, the most earned runs he gave up in a start was, I believe, was it 5? Oh, 4. And I was at that start. I remember when he debuted, 4 innings, I think it was 85 pitches or so. But 85 pitches, it was not a great debut, and he got behind early, and it was just tough. And then he played San Fran, and he lost that. He didn't lose that one, but he went, I think, 4 starts without even getting a decision. And then he went, like, I think 6 starts without even getting a win. But he's recovered. He's been a solid guy. He's come in, pitched. He knows his role. I mean, he pitched against St. Louis this past Thursday, I believe, and he had a really great performance. And he was against Adam Wainwright, who probably is the ace of the Cardinals staff, and he still managed to pitch on the same level as Wainwright, even though Wainwright had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning. But yeah, that no-hitter was on May 25th. So that was the first 4 pitchers of the rotation. The top 3 are probably the best, one of the best 1, 2, 3s you can get out of baseball, period. Now, Beckett's great. Beckett's great. A little bit here and there, but he finds ways to win games. So there's not too much concern there, as you can see. But there is Herron, and Herron. We'll look back. Looking at We'll look back to when last season with that pitching staff, same top 3, Kershaw, Greinke, Ryu, but then you have Ricky Nolasco, who I would compare is as good as Herron, and we're going to compare that right now. We're going to compare Ricky Nolasco, 2013 Dodger Ricky Nolasco, to Dan Herron. Now, if you're a Dodger fan, you already know who that 5th spot belonged to. That was Chris Capriano. What is there to say about Chris Capriano? I don't know how to pronounce people's names. That's my fault. Chris Capriano, last season, was very shaky for the Dodgers. And when I say shaky, I mean this guy was... He basically took you to the edge of your seat every single time he pitched. He was either super good or he was super bad. And it was not good most of the time. Let's talk about Chris Capriano really quickly. Sometimes when you look back to the second half, and this is an observation for me, when you look to the second half of the Dodgers season, they were really hot for periods of time, for long periods of time. They were winning games. They were stringing victories together. I remember they won 6-0 on a homestand, which was incredible to me because I couldn't really believe it. Okay, so we're about to get to Chris Capriano. Really great player. No, not a really good player. What am I talking about? I remember this one game against the Rays. Chris, old buddy Chris, gave up 6 runs, and most Dodger fans were like, oh, we're not coming back. But I believed that we were going to come back. 7th inning, we score a run. 8th inning, we score 2 runs. Now, this is a very familiar script because I've seen this happen before to the Dodgers. I've seen them blow games away, and I've seen them come back before. This season, they have not won a game after trailing after the 7th inning. So it kind of gives a justification when Dodger fans leave after the 7th inning and they're losing. But not really. But in Tampa Bay, I'm going back to it. I'm getting off track. So Tampa Bay, they play the Dodgers, and they're leading. They put in Fernando Rodney while leading 6-3 in the top, at the bottom of the ninth. One thing leads to another. Errors. Let's start it off with a Mark Ellis triple. Scored Schumacher. Punto. Scored Ellis. Gonzalez scores Punto. And Harrison Jr. grounds into a fielder's choice to Fernando Rodney. Easy play. Rodney throws to second base, and the ball, well, it slips out, and well, it goes into the outfield, and well, the Dodgers would win that game. But my main point is, the Dodgers offense doesn't do this very often, but they had to do it because this guy, Chris Capuano, was pitching. So before anyone who the Dodgers fan complains about how it's so tough being a Dodger fan and how our pitchers are not top right now, that they want David Price, at least we don't have Chris anymore. Let me give you, I got off topic, but let me give you the some of these games this idiot threw, okay? This guy, this guy really doesn't deserve to be part of this team. Anyways, so let's start you off when he loses his fourth game to the Angels, 4-3. This is where it gets interesting because from this time on, he was 3-3 after the month of May. He gathers a few wins, gathers a few losses. So directly after this game, he beats the Yankees. He shuts them out. Goes lights out on the Yankees. Then goes to San Diego. Goes lights out. And I'm also from May 29 to August 14th, before that start against the Mets, he either gives up 5 runs or he doesn't give up any runs. So this guy is an anomaly. Is like, nah, I can't. He's just so strange. Nothing he does makes any sense. Let me go on. San Diego shuts them out. Doesn't get the win though, but the Dodgers win 3-1. Then he pitches. He's a starting pitcher for the worst game in Dodger history at Dodger Stadium, which would be overshadowed by another game that Ricky Nolasco would pitch. My point here. He gives up 7 runs and 5 earned runs in 3 2/3 en route to a 16-1 loss. Then he follows up that performance with a 4 and a third inning outing where he gives up 5 runs and a 9-5 loss. Then in 7 of his starts straight, he goes 2-0. How does that happen? How do you go 7 starts without getting the victory? Well, I'll tell you how. Colorado doesn't give up a single run. Picks up his first victory of the season, 3-6. Goes to Toronto. Now, this game, I remember it because they went into extra innings. I believe this is the one. Is this the one that went into extra innings? No, I don't think it's. Sorry, I'm wrong. But in this outing, Chris Capuano goes on the mound in 4 1/3 gives up 5 runs. Now, after he gives up the 5th run, Dodgers down 5-2. And what didn't help is because they put in Carlos Marmol, who really isn't that great of a pitcher, but they put him in, and the game is 8-2. How did the Dodgers come back? Well, they do, and they take the lead 10-9, 10-8, and then they finish that game 10-9. But Chris Capuano, the offense always bails him out, which is not something that Kershaw can say because he really doesn't get that much run support. But moving on. So that's that game against Toronto. Capuano throws a gem against the Reds, and it's I don't know if you remember this game. You probably don't if you're a Dodger fan, but this was a great outing. Okay, not just by Chris, but the whole entire staff. Capuano gets up 3 hits and 6 in the third. And then for the next 4 1/3 innings, the Reds don't get a single hit. And the pitchers give up a total of 2 walks. 2 walks. That's so precise. Okay? So precise. And this is a game where Yasiel Puig hit a home run in the bottom of the 11th, which was a great game. One of the best rolls of the Dodgers. One of the best games of that huge roll the Dodgers had. Of games, going on. Then he plays Chicago, goes 6 1/3, and shuts them down. Let me remind you, at no point during this season, I just want to make this clear, at no point during this season does Capuano throw a complete game. At no point during this season he throws a complete game. His longest outing is a 7 1/3 outing against the Braves, where he takes a no decision, but they still lose that game. So moving on. After that shutout against the Cubs, which was really great, by the way, he gives up 5 runs against the Rays. But that's the game he gets bailed out of because of the offense. Then the downfall comes, or what I like to call the downfall. And this is in August. And truth be told, he had some really quality starts. He just had some bad luck. So against the Mets, he was the Dodgers in a very early hole, which is not really surprising. He puts them in a 4-0 hole within 3 innings of the game starting. Of course, the Dodgers have to bail him out, and I remember this because it was the bottom of the 9th inning. They called up Andre Ethier, and he hits a 2-run home run to tie the game. Great memory. But, again, Cap is bailed out of his miserable pitching. Okay? Then they play Miami. They go to Miami. Cap gives up 3 runs in the first 4 innings, and, well, he was already bailed out because the Dodgers were able to score 4 runs in that game. But he gets bailed out. Most important part. Then his luck just kind of runs out, and he has to pitch against the Red Sox, and he pitches okay. This is strange because he didn't pitch horrible. The only run was I believe it was an Adrian Gonzalez home run. But, I mean, he 3 runs in the first few innings, and then the Dodger pitching staff just implodes and gives up 3 home runs. And that was Brandon League, helped with Brandon League and Chris Withrow give up those runs. Brandon League still hasn't made a name for himself. And then he got his final start as a Dodger in a gem. He threw a great game. It was in San Diego. 7 innings, 8 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. But the Dodgers scored 2 runs in the 7th and 8th to win that game. And Brian Wilson comes away with the win. Then everything from there on out is just a appearance. So maybe not as bad. But Dodgers fans need to remember that there was a time when pitching was not so great. But I went off topic really a lot. So let's take a look at Ricky Nolasco, 2013 Dodgers, and Dan Herron, who supposedly is the worst pitcher on staff. Now let me go back to Dan Herron. Okay, let's talk about Dan. Herron had a really good start to the season. I think he started out like 3-0 and just kind of rolled with everything, and he had a really good ERA. But time progresses, and well, we're here now. His last 5 games have been kind of shaky because okay, let's go through his season just real quick. Month of April. Could you ask for a better month from a team, okay? ERA's great, okay? It's a 2.03 ERA, is 3-0. Then May rolls around, and he gets his 4th win against Minnie. Then Washington, they go to Washington, can't win there. Play Miami, can't win there. Actually, he wins that game, sorry. But then he goes into a little bit of a losing streak where he loses 3. He gets a decision and loses 3 of the next 4 games he pitches. Arizona can't beat them. Philadelphia can't beat them. And in each of these losses, the first 3 losses at least, the Dodgers score 3 runs, and they're giving him decent run support. It's just up to him. So they lose 5-3 to both Arizona and Philadelphia. Then they lose 6-3 to Pittsburgh. Well, June's a new month. Well, he gets no offense from the Dodgers on June 3rd against the White Sox. And, well, little do you know, he loses that game too. Wasn't a bad game, quality a little bit at least, but the Dodgers just didn't give him any offense. Well, you say the sun will come out tomorrow. Well, you bet your butt it does. Because he would win his next 2 starts. He only gives up about 5 runs in the next 2 starts against Cincinnati and Arizona. Then he plays San Diego, and they lose that game, but not because of him. They lose because of poor closing pitching by Kenley Jensen. Poor pitching. Okay? But his last game against KC, he didn't come away with a decision, but he only pitched for 4 1/3 as he gives up 4 runs. So what we have to learn, Dan Herron is shaky. Now let's look at Ricky Nolasco. Ricky Nolasco was the ace of the Marlins, quote unquote ace. I want to use that term lightly because it should be used lightly. So we'll go to his game log in 2013. What is Dan Herron right now? He is 7-4. Let me just tell you something. Ricky Nolasco was 8-3 with the Dodgers. Okay, 8-3 with the Dodgers. Okay, so understand this. He comes to Los Angeles with sporting a 5-8 record, and in his time with the Dodgers, he's able to acquire about 8 wins. He did really well with the Dodgers. Dan Herron's 7-4 with the Dodgers right now. That's pretty even. Okay? So I don't think I need to go to game.